From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Tuesday the 26th of April. Good afternoon. Today we're going to be discussing some of the biggest news stories, including explosions in Transnistria and North Korea trying out new nukes. And we'll also be answering today's big question: can Talk TV succeed where GB News failed? But first, let's talk about Russia's claims that it's at war with NATO. Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, has said that his country is in a proxy war with NATO because of Western weapons systems being sent to Ukraine. Speaking in a TV interview, Foreign Minister Lavrov said that these weapons are a legitimate target, and added that Russian forces have already targeted weapons warehouses in Western Ukraine. Asked about the prospect of a nuclear war, Lavrov said that the risks are now considerable, and that while he wouldn't want to elevate those risks artificially, we must not underestimate it. In response to these claims, though, the UK's Armed Forces Minister insisted that it wasn't NATO as an organisation that was even sending arms to Ukraine, but rather individual countries both inside and outside of NATO. But it seems clear that the two sides have yet another thing to disagree on. Sticking with the conflict, Moldova has just convened a meeting of the country's Supreme Security Council following explosions in the Russian-backed separatist region of Transnistria. Transnistria is a breakaway state in Moldova that borders southwestern Ukraine and is something we've explained at length in a video exclusively on Nebula. Anyway, just last week, a senior Russian commander said that if they could establish control of southern Ukraine, it would open another way into Transnistria, raising concerns that Moscow was seeking to bring the pro-Russian enclave into the war, and could even attempt to occupy it in the future, under the same justification as its invasion of Ukraine. Regardless, these latest explosions struck a building housing the security services, and are thought to be the result of rocket-propelled grenade attacks, at least according to authorities, although they haven't yet been able to provide any information about who actually conducted the attacks. Regardless, the Moldovan government has called for calm in the region, and it's easy to imagine why they're concerned. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your everyday routine. Or you can just search for us in your podcast app to listen along. In North Korea today, Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un has held a military parade to celebrate the foundation of the armed forces. In this parade, banned intercontinental ballistic missiles were displayed, something that caused condemnation from the international community. This clearly isn't a new thing though. North Korea has faced some pretty serious sanctions in recent years due to their nuclear activities, but today's military parade shows that Kim Jong-un doesn't intend to slow down or even hide the development of his nukes. In fact, he stated that North Korea intends to strengthen and develop our nation's nuclear capabilities at the fastest pace. He then went on to claim that the country's nuclear weapons were simply a deterrence, hinting that he would strike back though if his country were to be attacked. Let's move to the US, where the former president Donald Trump has refused to respond to a subpoena that was issued as part of an investigation into his taxes. The inquiry in question is designed to look at whether Trump falsely inflated the value of his assets in financial statements, and the subpoena specifically asked Mr. Trump to hand over documents related to these financial statements. And as Trump hasn't handed them over yet, he's been found in contempt of court. As such, he's been ordered to pay $10,000 every day that he fails to comply with the subpoena. The investigation itself is being headed up by New York's Attorney General, something that Trump appears to take issue with. Ms. James is a Democrat, and as such, he's called the investigation a politically motivated witch hunt. But considering that Trump, even now, is still refusing to release documentation that is normally released by all other presidents while in office, you can begin to understand why some think he might have something to hide. From one billionaire to another, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, has secured a deal with Twitter to buy the social media platform for $44 billion. An offer that was initially refused by the company, but has now been accepted by the board after Musk put together a financing package and conducted negotiations with Twitter. This buyout gives Musk near total control over the company and the platform, which he describes as a digital town square. He's therefore already pledged to defeat spam bots, make the algorithm open source, and as a self-proclaimed free speech absolutist, a claim which is disputed by some of his former employees, Musk could even oversee the relaxation of content moderation and open the door to Donald Trump returning to Twitter. Ultimately though, we don't really know how things will change, and even Twitter's CEO says that he doesn't know which direction the platform will go in next. Regardless, if you want to find out more about this, how Musk ended up taking over, and what he might want to do with the company, then we have a full video about that over on the TLDR US channel, and that's linked down below. That's all we have time for today on YouTube, but if you want more, including the answer to today's big question, can Talk TV succeed where GB News failed, then you should watch the extended version of the daily briefing over on Nebula, where you'll also find our exclusive video on Transnistria, which I mentioned earlier. Nebula subscribers not only get everything you've already watched ad-free, but also get an extended version of the show every single weekday. Available to watch on Nebula or to stream on your podcast app of choice. So if you want to support the channel and get an even more extensive briefing every day, then you'll want to sign up. And there's good news. Our friends at CuriosityStream, the streaming service with some of the world's best documentaries, is offering a deal whereby you can get both platforms, CuriosityStream and Nebula, for less than $15 a year. That's all the documentaries you could want on CuriosityStream, and then more TLDR on Nebula, including the extended briefing, other full exclusive TLDR videos, and, well, it's always ad-free too. Click the link below to get both services for less than $15 a year and support the channel.